Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Deku and Naruto were brother and trained by Beerus? Subscribe if you enjoy the video. And also check the description. So let's begin the story. The early morning sky was painted with a delicate haze of pinks and golds. The first light of dawn gently caressing a world where reality had long since blurred the lines between legends and life. In this strange convergence of universes, where the art of the ninja mingled with the spark of heroic quirks and the cosmic energies of gods, the quiet village of Hanayama lay nestled at the foot of ancient, mist-shrouded mountains. It was here that the destiny of two extraordinary brothers, Izuku and Naruto, began to reveal itself. In a modest home built of weathered wood and stone, the siblings stirred awake. Their shared room, divided by a threadbare curtain, was a testament to their unique lives. A harmonious blend of relics from disparate worlds. On one side, posters of heroic legends and scribbled blueprints hinted at a passion for justice and the pursuit of becoming a symbol of hope. On the other, worn ninja headbands and scrolls of ancient techniques spoke of a fiery will and the heritage of a hidden village. Despite their differences in style and ambition, there was an unspoken bond between them that transcended circumstance. Izuku, known to friends as Deku, was the quieter of the two, his hazel eyes reflecting a deep intensity and an unyielding desire to grow stronger with each passing day. Every morning, as he laced up his well-worn boots and prepared for another training session, he would trace his fingers over a faded family emblem, a symbol that shimmered faintly with a mysterious energy, and wonder about its origins. It was said that their bloodline was touched by celestial forces, a secret legacy that bound them to a fate far greater than any ordinary hero's journey. This secret was the subject of many whispered conversations between the brothers, half-truths that danced on the edge of myth and reality. Across the room, Naruto awoke with a burst of energy that seemed to defy the quiet calm of the dawn. His wild, sun-kissed hair and bright blue eyes were as full of life as the spirit that drove him. Naruto had always possessed an untamed spark, a fire that burned deep within him, tempered by a yearning for recognition and a deep-seated desire to protect those he loved. Unlike his more introspective brother, Naruto wore his emotions openly, his laughter echoing through the corridors of their home as if to ward off the dark memories of a turbulent past. His ambitions were as lofty as the clouds above, and though he carried scars from battles long past, his resilience shone through with every smile and every determined step. That particular morning, the air seemed to hum with an unspoken promise, a prelude to an adventure that would soon shatter the boundaries of their known world. As the siblings shared a quiet breakfast, simple fare of rice, miso soup, and a few vegetables lovingly prepared by their mother, their conversation drifted from mundane plans for the day to speculative whispers about the cosmic destiny hinted at by their family crest. "I wonder if today will be the day," Naruto said with an earnest grin, his voice carrying the optimism of a child yet tempered by the wisdom earned through hardship. "The day something extraordinary happens." Izuku's eyes softened as he regarded his brother. "It has to be," he replied quietly, his tone both hopeful and cautious. "We've always known that our bond isn't just about being family, it's about something deeper. There's a power in our connection, something that even we don't fully understand yet." Their words hung in the air, charged with the weight of destiny. Outside, the village was already stirring to life. Villagers bustled about, greeting each other with warm smiles and gentle nods, unaware of the ancient energies stirring just beyond the horizon. For in the depths of the cosmos, far above the drifting clouds and sparkling stars, an enigmatic figure observed these quiet moments with an inscrutable gaze. High above, amidst a swirling nebula of vibrant purples and shimmering golds, Beerus, the god of destruction, watched with a mixture of amusement and detached interest. His presence, though vast and fearsome, was almost imperceptible to the inhabitants of Hanayama. In his realm, time flowed differently, and Beerus had long grown accustomed to the petty squabbles of gods and mortals alike. Yet there was something unusual about the energy emanating from this small village and more specifically, from the two brothers whose destinies were entwined with forces beyond their understanding. Beerus' eyes narrowed slightly as he observed the latent power pulsing within the emblem that Deku clutched so fondly each morning. "Fascinating," he murmured, his voice low and rumbling like distant thunder. "The convergence of such potential and a mere mortal lineage. Perhaps they are not meant for a life of quiet obscurity after all." Unbeknownst to the brothers, this observation was the spark that would ignite their journey toward a future filled with rigorous training, unforeseen challenges, and battles that would span the very fabric of the cosmos. The cosmic disturbance was not a random event, but a deliberate signal, a call to arms for those destined to shape the fate of multiple worlds. Later that day, as the sun ascended higher into the sky, Deku and Naruto ventured outside, each following the path that had become their ritual. Deku would often take the quieter trails along the river, his mind filled with plans and strategies for becoming a symbol of hope. In contrast, Naruto preferred the rugged terrain beyond the village, where nature's raw beauty mirrored his untamed spirit. Yet, on this day, as if guided by an unseen hand, both brothers found themselves drawn toward the ancient forest that bordered their home, a forest whispered to be a place where the veil between worlds grew thin. The forest was a realm of its own, a living tapestry woven with towering trees, dappled sunlight, and hidden glades that seemed to breathe with ancient wisdom. As Deku walked the winding paths, his senses were heightened. Every rustle of leaves and chirp of birds took on a significance he could not yet articulate. It was as though the forest itself was trying to speak to him, offering silent encouragement to uncover the mysteries that lay hidden in the interplay of light and shadow. Meanwhile, Naruto bounded through the underbrush with a carefree energy, his eyes alight with the thrill of adventure. He leaped over fallen logs and darted through patches of sunlight, his laughter mingling with the natural symphony of the forest. Yet, beneath his exuberance, there was an undercurrent of determination, a fierce resolve to discover the truth about his own power and the legacy of his bloodline. As the hours passed, the paths of the two brothers converged near an ancient stone archway, half hidden by creeping vines and moss. This arch, inscribed with symbols both familiar and foreign, stood as a silent guardian of secrets long forgotten. Deku arrived first, his heart pounding with the anticipation of uncovering another piece of the puzzle that was his destiny. He ran his hand over the cool, weathered stone, feeling an electric tingle ripple beneath his skin, a sensation that spoke of the magical convergence of energies that had always surrounded his family. In that moment, the whispers of forgotten legends filled his mind, and he recalled stories passed down through generations, tales of a hidden power that resided within those who dared to dream of a better future. Naruto soon appeared, his eyes scanning the intricate carvings with an intensity that belied his youthful exuberance. "You feel it too, don't you?" he asked, turning to Deku with a knowing smile. "It's like this place is calling out to us." Deku nodded, his expression thoughtful. "It's more than just a call, it's a connection. Our bond, our family's legacy, it's all here, etched in these stones. I've always felt there was something about us, something that sets us apart from everyone else." As the brothers stood together beneath the arch, a quiet reverence filled the clearing. The energy in the air seemed to pulse in time with their racing hearts, as if acknowledging the presence of kindred spirits. In that sacred space, they made a silent vow to uncover the mysteries of their past and to embrace the destiny that awaited them. It was a promise born not just of blood, but of the shared struggles, hopes, and dreams that had defined their journey thus far. For hours, they sat in contemplation, the forest around them alive with whispers of ancient lore. The interplay of sunlight and shadow on the mossy ground mirrored the duality within themselves, the balance of strength and vulnerability, of hope and despair. Each moment spent in that enchanted glade deepened their understanding of one another, reinforcing a bond that went far beyond the ordinary ties of brotherhood. In the distance, the soft rumble of thunder hinted at an approaching change, a prelude to the trials that lay ahead. The brothers knew, even without understanding the full scope of their destiny, that their lives were about to be irrevocably transformed. There was an unspoken promise in the air, a promise that the hidden powers within them would soon awaken, and that the path they had chosen would lead to challenges that tested not only their abilities but the very essence of who they were. Unbeknownst to them, the presence of Beerus was not a fleeting interest but the beginning of a mentorship that would push them to their limits. The cosmic deity, ever watchful from his distant realm, recognized in their combined energies a rare potential. He had seen countless warriors and heroes rise and fall, yet there was something uniquely compelling about the synergy between Deku's analytical resolve and Naruto's unbridled passion. Their journey, Beerus mused, might even redefine the balance of power in a universe where destiny was written in the stars. Back in the village, as the day wore on and the mundane rhythm of daily life resumed, The whispers of an impending change began to spread like wildfire. Elders recalled old prophecies and ancient texts that spoke of a time when the fabric of reality would be stretched to its limits, and heroes from disparate worlds would rise to face a threat that transcended the ordinary. These stories, passed down through generations, spoke of cosmic convergence, a time when the bonds of family and fate would be the only weapons against the encroaching darkness. At the heart of this prophecy was the idea that true strength lay not in individual might alone but in the power of unity, the merging of diverse energies into a force greater than the sum of its parts. For Deku and Naruto, whose lives had been defined by a constant striving for improvement and a deep-seated desire to protect those they held dear, the prophecy resonated on a profoundly personal level. They were not merely siblings. They were the living embodiment of a legacy that spanned both mortal and cosmic realms. As dusk began to settle over Hanayama, the brothers returned home with their hearts and minds alight with the day's revelations. Under the soft glow of lantern light, they sat together in their modest living room, poring over old family scrolls and faded photographs that hinted at a past shrouded in mystery. The stories recounted in those ancient texts spoke of warriors blessed by the cosmos, heroes who had once walked the same path and had risen to challenge the very gods themselves. Naruto's eyes sparkled with determination as he traced the lines of an old drawing depicting a pair of figures, brothers, standing side by side, their expressions resolute, and their eyes filled with otherworldly light. "We're meant for something incredible," he said softly, his voice imbued with the fierce certainty of youth tempered by hardship. "No matter what challenges we face, our bond is our greatest strength." Deku nodded in agreement, his mind awash with memories of countless hours of solitary training, moments of quiet introspection, and the ever-present feeling that he was destined for more than a life confined to the ordinary. "We've always been connected," he replied, his voice steady despite the tumult of thoughts swirling within him. "Even when the world tried to pull us apart, our bond held us together. I believe that's why we're here, to unlock the true potential that lies hidden within us." As the night deepened and the stars emerged in a vast tapestry overhead, the brothers sat in silence, each lost in their own reverie. The quiet hum of the night was punctuated by the distant call of an owl and the soft rustle of leaves, a gentle reminder that the world was alive with secrets waiting to be discovered. In that serene moment, the boundaries between past, present, and future seemed to blur, as if time itself were bending to the will of an unseen force. Far above, in his cosmic realm, Beerus allowed himself a rare moment of contemplation. The flickering lights of distant galaxies and the swirling energies of nebulae mirrored the tumult of potential that he observed in the lives of the two brothers. "They carried the weight of destiny with them," he mused quietly, his thoughts a blend of approval and challenge. "It is not enough to simply exist in this world. They must learn to harness the powers that lie dormant within, to transcend the limitations of their mortal forms and embrace the cosmic force that is their true heritage." In the days that followed, the ordinary routines of village life continued as if nothing were amiss, yet the undercurrent of change was palpable. The elders, the healers, and even the young children spoke in hushed tones about the strange happenings in the forest, about the uncanny energy that seemed to emanate from the ancient archway. Whispers spread of a coming storm, a metaphorical tempest that would test the bonds of family, honor, and destiny. For Deku and Naruto, each moment became a lesson in patience and anticipation. Their days were filled with rigorous training sessions, both in isolation and together, as they sought to harness the power that pulsed just beneath the surface of their everyday abilities. Deku spent hours studying techniques and strategies, his mind a repository of knowledge that he meticulously refined, while Naruto's training was an explosive blend of physical prowess and raw emotion, his every movement a testament to his unyielding spirit. In quiet intervals between their training, the brothers often found solace in each other's company. They would share stories of their dreams and fears, of the times when the weight of expectation threatened to overwhelm them, and of the moments when their bond had been the only thing keeping them grounded. These conversations, filled with laughter and occasional tears, were as much a part of their training as any physical drill. They learned that true strength was not measured solely in power or technique, but in the courage to face one's vulnerabilities and to trust implicitly in the support of those who shared one's journey. One cool, crisp evening, as the wind whispered through the ancient pines and the first hints of winter tinged the air, the brothers found themselves once again at the stone archway in the forest. The moon hung low in the sky, bathing the clearing in a silvery glow that transformed the familiar scene into something ethereal, almost otherworldly. Standing side by side, Deku and Naruto revisited the carvings on the stone, their fingers tracing the intricate lines as if searching for a hidden language. "There's a message here," Deku murmured, his voice barely audible over the gentle rustle of the leaves. "A story of sacrifice and hope. A promise that no matter how dark the night, the dawn will always come." Naruto's eyes shone with an intensity that belied his playful demeanor. "Then let's make sure that when the dawn comes, we're ready," he declared, clenching his fist with determination. "Our bond is our greatest weapon, and together, there's nothing we can't overcome." In that solemn moment, with the ancient symbols as silent witnesses to their resolve, the brothers vowed to prepare themselves for the challenges that lay ahead. They understood that the road to unlocking their true potential would be fraught with peril, that the path was as much about conquering inner demons as it was about mastering external foes. Yet, bolstered by the strength of their shared history and the promise of a brighter future, they embraced the uncertainty with open hearts and unyielding determination. Little did they know that the universe had already set the wheels of fate in motion. From the celestial heights, Beerus observed the solemn oath with a mixture of satisfaction and anticipation. The seeds of transformation had been sown, and the cosmic dance of destiny was about to enter a new, turbulent phase. One that would test not only the mettle of these two extraordinary brothers but also the very fabric of the worlds they sought to protect. As the night deepened and the gentle pulse of the forest lulled all into a serene slumber, the hidden bond between Deku and Naruto glowed ever brighter. A beacon of hope and determination in a universe on the brink of monumental change. The promise of new beginnings, of epic challenges and transformative growth, hung in the air like the lingering notes of a celestial symphony, waiting for the first rays of dawn to herald a new chapter in their extraordinary lives. And so, beneath the watchful eyes of ancient gods and amid the soft murmur of the natural world, the journey of two brothers began. A journey that would lead them into realms unknown, test the limits of their strength, and ultimately forge a legacy that would echo across the cosmos for generations to come. A simmering tension had long been building in the cosmos, a pressure that slowly, inexorably, tightened around the threads of fate and beckoned forth an inevitable reckoning. In the days following that fateful morning at the ancient stone archway, the quiet village of Hanayama seemed to pulse with an undercurrent of energy that belied its outward tranquility. The balance between the natural and the supernatural had begun to shift, and the bonds of destiny, already entwined between Deku and Naruto, were about to be tested by a force as ancient as time itself. It began with an eerie twilight that refused to yield to the dark. On a night when the moon hung low and swollen, casting silvery beams through the drifting mist, the heavens above Hanayama shuddered with a strange luminescence. Stars twinkled in patterns that defied normal constellations, and the air vibrated with a low, almost imperceptible hum. In the heart of the village, villagers sensed that something momentous was unfolding beyond the veil of everyday life. The elders whispered of omens and portents, tales of celestial convergence that had been prophesied long ago but were rarely spoken aloud. Deku, whose every instinct had grown increasingly attuned to the world's subtler energies, felt a chill run down his spine as he stepped out into the cool night. The familiar rustle of leaves and the soft murmur of the nearby river were joined by an almost musical resonance that seemed to come from the very fabric of the universe. His eyes, wide with anticipation, traced the shifting patterns in the sky. It was as if the cosmos were composing a symphony of power, a signal that the hidden depths of their lineage were about to awaken. Naruto, ever the embodiment of exuberance and raw emotion, met Deku outside their home with a spark of excitement in his eyes. "Do you feel it?" he asked, his voice echoing slightly in the still night air. "It's like the whole world is waiting for something, or someone." Deku nodded slowly. "There's a disturbance in the balance, Naruto. Something beyond our understanding is stirring. I've been reading through the old scrolls, and they mention a convergence, a time when forces from distant realms would come to test the worth of our bloodline." As the brothers spoke in hushed tones, the whisper of ancient prophecies seemed to mingle with the nocturnal winds. Unbeknownst to them, the source of that celestial stir was none other than Beerus, the enigmatic god of destruction, whose gaze had long been fixed on the mortal realm. Far beyond mortal sight, in a realm of cosmic majesty and imperious silence, Beerus observed the unfolding events with a measured curiosity. His eyes, glowing with otherworldly power, flickered as the energies of Hanayama and the latent potential of the brothers radiated into the infinite void. Deep within the cosmos, a ritual of summoning began to take shape, a process that defied conventional understanding, merging the ancient rites of forgotten civilizations with the raw, unbridled power of the universe itself. In an expanse where the laws of physics bent and folded into layers of vibrant possibility, the collective will of the universe coalesced around the presence of the brothers. Their intertwined destinies, marked by the shimmering emblem passed down through generations, resonated with such intensity that it reverberated across dimensions. As the summoning ritual gathered strength, energy cascaded like waterfalls of incandescent light from the far reaches of space. Nebulae swirled in magnificent hues of violet and emerald, and celestial bodies danced in a gravitational waltz around the pulsating core of pure, unfettered energy. At the epicenter of this cosmic tempest, a portal began to form, a shimmering gateway that bridged the mortal plane and the divine domain of the gods. This portal was the conduit through which Beerus would be drawn to Hanayama, compelled by the irresistible allure of destiny. In the heart of the village, the natural world reacted as if in anticipation of an imminent upheaval. Animals paused mid-step, their instincts alerting them to the alteration in the atmosphere. Trees seemed to lean in as if to listen, and even the wind whispered secrets of ancient power. The elders, who had long observed the subtle shifts in the fabric of their reality, gathered in quiet concern around the central square, their eyes fixed upon the sky that pulsed with unearthly brilliance. Among these wise souls was Master Hachiro, a venerable figure reputed to have dabbled in the mystic arts in his youth. His lined face, etched with the wisdom of many decades, broke into a grave expression as he studied the celestial omens. "The time has come," he murmured, his voice a tremor of both reverence and foreboding. "The prophecy of our ancestors speaks of the day when the god of destruction is summoned to test the true mettle of our world. I fear that day is upon us." High above Hanayama, as if acknowledging the stirring call of fate, the portal widened and intensified. A spectral glow enveloped the night, and from the heart of the luminescence, a figure began to materialize, a figure whose presence radiated raw power and indomitable authority. With every passing second, the ethereal outline grew sharper, the divine aura surrounding it unmistakable. And then, in a moment that seemed to stretch across the eons, Beerus emerged into the mortal realm. He descended with an effortless grace, his form coalescing out of the cosmic energies like a dark star taking form. The air around him crackled with the weight of his presence. Clad in an attire that spoke of both opulence and lethal efficiency, Beerus surveyed the village with a calm yet piercing gaze. His eyes, glinting with a hint of mischief, took in every detail of Hanayama, from the humble cottages to the ancient stone archway that had already borne witness to the destinies of the two brothers. Beerus's arrival was both sudden and preordained. The ground trembled imperceptibly underfoot, and a subtle shift in the ambient energy sent ripples through the hearts of all who were sensitive to the mystical. Master Hachiro, standing at the center of the gathered elders, bowed deeply in a mixture of awe and trepidation. "Welcome, Lord of Destruction," he intoned, his voice quivering with both respect and a dawning realization of the gravity of the moment. The deity's lips curved into a slight, knowing smile as he regarded the assembly. "I have come not merely as an agent of chaos, but to test the resolve of this world, and more specifically, the potential harbored by two extraordinary souls," Beerus declared, his tone resonating with a calm authority that brooked no dissent. "I have watched you, Deku and Naruto, as your lives have unfolded, and I see in you the spark of a power that could shift the balance of destiny." Word of Beerus's arrival spread like wildfire, and soon the entire village was abuzz with nervous energy. The once peaceful streets were now filled with hushed conversations and wide-eyed stares, as every villager tried to comprehend the significance of this divine visitation. For Deku and Naruto, the news felt like a culmination of every secret longing and every whispered hope. They had known, in some unspoken way, that the convergence of destiny was drawing near. The brothers, summoned almost magnetically to the central square, approached Beerus with a mix of trepidation and steely resolve. Under the spectral light of the portal, their figures stood united, the familial bond between them palpable in the silence that preceded their meeting. Deku's eyes were calm and measured, reflecting both his analytical mind and the deep well of emotion that lay beneath. Naruto, in contrast, exuded a raw, unbridled energy that radiated outward in waves of determination. Beerus's gaze swept over them, his expression inscrutable. So you are the ones of whom the ancients spoke, the bearers of a legacy that spans both mortal endeavor and cosmic destiny. Your potential is undeniable, but potential alone does not a hero make, he said, his voice echoing as if from the farthest reaches of a great hall. To unlock the true strength that lies within you, you must first understand the price of power. Naruto stepped forward, his voice firm yet tinged with youthful defiance. We've faced challenges before, Lord Beerus. We've trained hard and overcome obstacles that many deemed impossible. We're ready to prove ourselves, Deku, ever the thoughtful one, added quietly. But we know that strength is not measured merely in the force of our blows or the brilliance of our techniques. It is forged in the crucible of sacrifice and understanding. We accept the challenge, whatever it may be. Beerus's smile deepened, a flash of both amusement and approval dancing in his eyes. Very well, he declared. I shall offer you a test, a trial by fire and spirit. You will be pushed to the limits of your abilities, forced to confront not only your physical boundaries but the very essence of who you are. Only by emerging from this trial will you begin to grasp the true nature of your powers. At that moment, the celestial portal began to pulse with an even greater intensity. Its swirling luminescence spread outward, enveloping the square in an otherworldly glow. The fabric of reality seemed to ripple as Beerus raised a single, graceful hand, and from the ether, a series of shimmering constructs manifested around the brothers. These constructs were not mere illusions. They were living embodiments of the challenges that awaited, spectral arenas designed to test every facet of the brothers' potential. Deku and Naruto exchanged determined glances. They stepped forward into the radiant field, the world around them transforming as if reality itself had become fluid. The very ground beneath their feet shifted from the cobblestones of Hanayama to a surreal landscape that bore the markings of ancient battlefields and celestial arenas. Here, the air was thick with the weight of cosmic history, and every step they took was a step into a realm where time and space melded into one. In this transformed realm, the first trial manifested as a gauntlet of physical challenges, a barrage of obstacles that required not only speed and strength but also a deep, intuitive understanding of one's body and spirit. Deku moved with the quiet efficiency of a seasoned strategist, his every motion calculated and precise as he navigated a maze of shifting platforms, energy barriers, and ephemeral constructs that dissolved into nothingness upon contact. Naruto, with his innate agility and fiery determination, leapt and dodged, his every movement an expression of raw, unbridled vitality. At one juncture, as a massive barrier of crackling energy surged toward them, the brothers found themselves back to back, their senses melding into a singular focus. We've got to work together on this, Deku shouted over the din of clashing energies, his voice filled with urgency. Our strength comes from our bond, don't forget that. Naruto grinned, his eyes alight with the thrill of the challenge. I never forget, bro. Let's show him what we're made of. With synchronized precision born from years of mutual trust, they combined their unique abilities, Deku's analytical mastery of technique and Naruto's instinctive, almost primal energy, to dismantle the barrier with a force that resonated with the very heartbeat of the cosmos. As the physical trial escalated, the landscape around them shifted yet again. The environment darkened, the ambient light dimming to reveal a more somber and introspective setting. It was as if the gauntlet had now become a test of inner strength, a mirror into the recesses of their souls. Here, spectral images of past failures, doubts, and fears materialized around them. Each brother was forced to confront the shadows that had haunted them through years of struggle and sacrifice. Deku found himself facing a vision of his former self, frail and overwhelmed by the immense expectations placed upon him, a reminder of every moment of despair and every tear shed in solitude. The image reached out with spectral hands, attempting to shackle him with the weight of his own doubts. Yet, with every fiber of his being, Deku resisted, channeling the love and unwavering faith he shared with his brother. I am more than my fears, he murmured, pushing forward until the apparition dissolved into a cascade of light, leaving behind a renewed sense of determination. Naruto, on the other hand, was confronted by memories of loneliness and isolation, a montage of moments when his exuberance was met with rejection, when the flame of his spirit had flickered under the weight of scorn and misunderstanding. The bitter taste of these memories threatened to extinguish his inner fire, but the echo of his brother's steadfast presence reminded him that he was never truly alone. "I won't let these shadows define me," Naruto declared, his voice resonant with conviction as he tore through the darkness, his chakra blazing like a beacon in the night. Beerus observed these trials with a detached interest, his eyes glinting with both amusement and a calculated intensity. "Strength forged in the fires of adversity," he mused aloud, his tone carrying the weight of cosmic judgment. "It is not enough to merely overcome the physical. True power is born from understanding and conquering one's inner turmoil." The trial eventually led them to a vast arena that defied the natural laws of the world, a domain where gravity, time, and space merged into a single, ever-changing tapestry. At the center of this arena stood a colossal altar, etched with runes that pulsed with an ancient, arcane light. This altar was the focal point of the trial, a symbolic representation of sacrifice and rebirth. According to the old scrolls, it was here that the true measure of a warrior's spirit was revealed, their willingness to lay down everything in the pursuit of a greater good. Beerus's voice echoed across the arena. "To truly awaken the power within you, you must be willing to sacrifice what you hold dear. Show me that you understand the cost of power and the value of your own spirit." In unison, Deku and Naruto approached the altar, each step heavy with the burden of what was to come. Their hearts pounded in their chests as memories of past sacrifices, the friends lost, the mentors departed, the moments of personal failure, flooded their minds. They understood that to rise above the ordinary, they would have to embrace the pain of loss and the harsh truths of their own limitations. Standing before the altar, the brothers closed their eyes and reached deep within themselves. In that silent communion, they each summoned the strength of every trial they had faced, the moments of despair, the triumphant victories, and the unbreakable bond that united them. A radiant light began to emanate from the altar, enveloping them in a warm yet fierce glow. It was as if the altar itself recognized their resolve and granted them a glimpse of what true power could be. In that moment, the air was filled with a palpable sense of transformation. Their combined aura expanded outward, merging with the energy of the arena and resonating with the very essence of the cosmos. The altar's light intensified, and for a heartbeat, time itself seemed to pause as the brothers' spirits intertwined with the ancient magic that had been locked away for millennia. When the light finally receded, both Deku and Naruto stood transformed, not in form, but in spirit. They felt a clarity and strength that transcended the mere physical, a deep understanding that true power was rooted in sacrifice, unity, and the relentless pursuit of one's ideals. The trial, with all its pain and beauty, had etched a new chapter into the annals of their destiny. Beerus, his expression unreadable yet laced with a hint of approval, stepped forward from the shadows of the arena. "You have passed the first of many tests," he announced, his voice imbued with both gravitas and a challenge. "But know this, the path ahead is fraught with even greater trials, and only through continuous sacrifice, growth, and the unwavering strength of your bond can you hope to master the potential that lies within you." Back in the mortal realm, as the portal's brilliant light slowly dimmed and the surreal arena dissolved into the familiar contours of Hanayama's central square, an air of charged anticipation lingered. The villagers, though still shaken by the extraordinary events of the night, began to realize that a new era had dawned, a time when the ancient powers and the indomitable spirit of a few extraordinary souls would determine the fate of many. Master Hachiro, who had witnessed the entirety of Beerus's summoning and the subsequent trials, addressed the gathered crowd with solemn authority. "Tonight, we have seen a glimpse of the forces that shape our world. The god of destruction has arrived not to bring ruin, but to challenge us, to awaken within these young warriors the strength they need to confront the darkness that looms on the horizon." As the crowd dispersed, murmurs of hope, fear, and determination filled the night air. For Deku and Naruto, the experience was both an affirmation of their heritage and a stark reminder of the immense responsibility that lay ahead. In the quiet moments that followed, the brothers found a secluded spot near the ancient archway, a place that had already borne witness to the stirring of their souls. Sitting side by side beneath the stars, they allowed the weight of the evening to settle upon them. The memory of the trial, the echo of ancient chants, and the vision of the altar's brilliant light intertwined to form a tapestry of purpose and promise. Naruto broke the silence first, his voice soft yet resolute. That was more than I ever imagined. I knew there was something different about us, but I didn't fully understand how deep it ran. Deku's gaze was distant as he considered the night's events. Every trial we face, every sacrifice we make, it's all a part of a larger design. The summoning of Beerus, the challenges we endured, they're teaching us that our true strength comes not just from our abilities, but from our willingness to embrace the pain and beauty of our destiny. For a long while, the two brothers sat in reflective silence, the cosmic revelations of the night etching themselves into their very beings. The calm of the night belied the tumultuous journey that lay ahead, a journey in which every step would demand not only physical prowess, but a profound understanding of the cost of power and the value of the bonds that united them. In the days that followed, Hanayama began to recover from the awe-inspiring events of that singular night. Yet, for those who had borne witness to the summoning of the god of destruction, the world would never be the same. The skies retained a subtle, lingering glow, a reminder that the cosmos had shifted, that ancient forces had been stirred into motion. And for Deku and Naruto, every moment was now charged with a renewed purpose, every sunrise a promise of the trials yet to come. Beerus, meanwhile, returned to his celestial domain, though his presence would continue to be felt in the echoes of the trials and the silent reverberations of cosmic destiny. His parting words, carried on the winds of fate, reminded the brothers that their journey was only beginning. Strength is not granted, it is earned through sacrifice, persistence, and the courage to confront the darkest corners of your soul. Until we meet again, hone your powers, and remember, the destiny of the cosmos may very well rest upon your shoulders. In that quiet resolve, the brothers resolved to continue their training with an intensity that bordered on the sacred. They immersed themselves in both physical conditioning and deep introspection, poring over ancient texts and practicing the techniques that had been passed down through the generations. Every sunrise found them pushing their limits, and every sunset was a time of reflection, where the lessons of the day merged with the wisdom of the ages. As word of their trials spread beyond the borders of Hanayama, whispers of the extraordinary potential harbored by these two young warriors reached distant lands. Travelers, scholars, and even other mystics sought to understand the cosmic convergence that had taken place, each interpreting the omens and signs in their own way. For some, it was a harbinger of a coming storm. For others, a promise of a new era of hope and transformation. Through it all, the bond between Deku and Naruto only deepened. Their shared experiences, of facing insurmountable challenges, confronting the deepest parts of themselves, and emerging with a clarity that defied the darkness, cemented their understanding that together, they could face any adversity. They knew that while Beerus' trial had been but the opening act in an epic saga, the true test lay in the unyielding journey that stretched before them, a journey that would demand every ounce of courage, every shred of sacrifice, and every bit of the unbreakable bond that defined them. As dusk fell on another day in Hanayama, the landscape bore the quiet scars of a battle fought not with swords or fists, but with hearts and wills forged in the crucible of destiny. The ancient archway, now a silent sentinel of countless secrets, shimmered faintly in the twilight, a constant reminder of the night when the cosmic call had been answered and a divine challenge had been set in motion. In that sacred silence, Deku and Naruto made a vow to themselves and to the legacy of their ancestors. "We will not falter," Deku whispered, his voice resolute. "We will carry the weight of our destiny with honor, knowing that every sacrifice, every trial, is a step toward a future where our light outshines the darkness." Naruto's response was a fervent nod, his eyes blazing with determination. "Together, there's nothing we can't overcome. Let this be the beginning of a new era, a time when our strength, our bond, becomes the beacon for all those who believe in hope." And so, as the stars emerged in the clear night sky and the echoes of Beerus' challenge reverberated through the cosmos, the summoning of the god of destruction became not a harbinger of doom, but a call to greatness. It was a moment when the threads of fate intertwined with the limitless potential of the human spirit, a moment that promised that, no matter the trials ahead, the legacy of Deku and Naruto would shine as a testament to the power of unity, sacrifice, and the unyielding pursuit of destiny. In the quiet aftermath of that cosmic event, Hanayama slept under a sky filled with possibility, unaware that the days to come would test the very foundations of its world. for in every whispered breeze and every glimmer of starlight lay the promise of challenges yet unmet, and the hope of heroes rising from the bonds of destiny. The morning after Beerus's summoning, Hanayama awoke under a sky that seemed to tremble with barely contained energy. In the hush of dawn, the village's familiar rhythm was punctuated by a palpable tension, a promise of trials that would test every fiber of Deku and Naruto's beings. In their modest home, the brothers rose with a quiet determination. The events of the previous night had left an indelible mark on them, a vision of cosmic challenges, whispered lessons of sacrifice, and the foreboding promise of a trial that would demand everything they had to offer. Standing together outside their home, the two brothers exchanged a look that conveyed both trepidation and fierce resolve. Naruto, ever the embodiment of raw emotion and exuberant spirit, cracked a wry smile as he rubbed the sleep from his eyes. "Well, looks like we're in for another round of tests. I hope you're ready to set the world on fire, bro." Deku's dark eyes, reflecting the quiet intensity of his thoughts, offered a measured nod. "We've faced trials before. But this is different. This is about proving that our bond can stand even the most brutal tests, both in body and spirit." As if to answer their unspoken call, the skies above swirled with ribbons of orange and red, reminiscent of molten fire. The air grew warmer with every passing moment, as though the world itself was preparing them for a trial by fire. Soon, a low, resonant hum filled the air, a sound that seemed to echo from the farthest reaches of the cosmos. It was the call of the arena, the summons for their next test from Beerus. Without warning, the landscape around the village began to warp. The familiar trees and cobbled streets melted into a vast, surreal arena that stretched out as far as the eye could see. The ground underfoot was an ever-shifting mosaic of scorched earth and shimmering, heat-induced mirages. In the center of this arena stood a towering dais, its surface etched with ancient runes that pulsed with a fiery glow. It was here that Beerus had decreed their trial would take place, a crucible of fire and fist, meant to forge their latent potential into something unstoppable. From a suspended platform high above the arena, Beerus's voice rang out, calm yet laced with an unmistakable authority. "Today, you will face the trial by fire and fist. In this arena, you must learn that strength is not given, it is earned through pain, perseverance, and the mastery of your inner flame. Only by enduring both the literal and metaphorical fires of this trial can you hope to unlock the true depths of your power." At these words, the arena roared to life. Walls of roaring flame erupted from the ground, twisting and writhing like living serpents. The air became a cauldron of heat, and every breath felt as if it were tempered in the furnace of destiny. For a heartbeat, the world seemed to vanish, leaving only the overwhelming sensation of being swallowed by an elemental force. Deku and Naruto took their positions at the threshold of the trial zone, side by side. Their eyes locked on the inferno that awaited them, each flame a symbol of the obstacles they were about to face. The brothers knew that every moment in this crucible would strip away their weaknesses, forcing them to confront both external dangers and the inner demons that lurked in the recesses of their minds. "Remember," Deku said quietly, his voice barely audible over the roar of the flames. "We're not just fighting the heat or the physical obstacles. We're fighting the doubts inside us, every insecurity, every fear. This is about transcending who we are right now." Naruto grinned, his eyes glinting with a mixture of excitement and steely determination. "Let's get it on then. I'm tired of playing it safe. It's time to show what we're really made of." With that, the brothers surged forward, their bodies propelled by a raw, unyielding energy that mirrored the intensity of the trial itself. The first challenge was a gauntlet of blazing hurdles, massive walls of flame that towered before them. These weren't ordinary fires, but manifestations of the trial's very essence, a test of their speed, their reflexes, and their unbreakable bond. Deku leaped gracefully, his agile form navigating the obstacles with precision. He moved like a dancer amid the searing heat, his every motion deliberate and calculated. Naruto, in contrast, charged headlong into the inferno with an explosive burst of energy, his fists pumping as he vaulted over the flames. Though his movements were more impulsive, there was an undeniable power in his raw, unbridled approach. Halfway through the gauntlet, a particularly fierce wall of fire erupted unexpectedly. The heat was almost unbearable, and the two brothers found themselves forced to synchronize their movements. Deku reached out, his hand meeting Naruto's in a silent pact of unity. In that brief, electric moment, their hearts beat as one, and the searing heat seemed to bow to the strength of their bond. Drawing upon their combined resolve, they pushed through the blaze. Naruto's fist connected with a wall of energy, dispersing it in a burst of chakra-infused impact, while Deku's agile movements carved a safe path through the flames. The fire roared around them as though testing their resolve, but the brothers pressed on, each step and every leap a testament to the training that had prepared them for such adversity. Having overcome the initial inferno, the arena began to shift again. The scorching heat subsided slightly, giving way to a more physical challenge, a sprawling, shifting labyrinth of stone and energy. This new trial was not about running from flames, but about engaging in combat, a test of the brothers' martial prowess, their reflexes, and their ability to adapt under pressure. As they entered the labyrinth, the brothers were immediately confronted by a barrage of spectral opponents. These foes were not flesh and bone but apparitions composed of raw energy, a reflection of the past adversaries and inner conflicts that had haunted them on their journey. They moved with uncanny speed and precision, launching a flurry of attacks that forced Deku and Naruto to defend themselves with all the skill and instinct they had honed through countless battles. Deku's analytical mind kicked into overdrive. He assessed each spectral foe, identifying patterns in their movements and formulating counter-strategies on the fly. With calculated strikes and expertly parried blows, he turned the tide of the battle. His movements were a dance of logic and precision, a vivid reminder that every challenge could be overcome with a clear mind and unwavering focus. Naruto, on the other hand, embraced the chaos with his signature explosive energy. He charged forward with a barrage of swift, powerful punches and kicks, each blow fueled by years of hardship and the fire of his indomitable spirit. His fists became like hammers of will, smashing through the spectral forms with raw power and unyielding determination. Every strike was a declaration. He would not be defeated by the ghosts of the past or the illusions of fear. At one point, a particularly formidable apparition lunged at Naruto with blinding speed, its energy crackling with malevolent force. With little time to hesitate, Naruto spun, channeling his chakra into his fist, and unleashed a furious Rasengan-like explosion. The force of his blow shattered the apparition into fragments of light, dissipating the dark energy in a brilliant flash. Nearby, Deku found himself grappling with an enemy that anticipated his every move, a relentless foe that mirrored his own doubts and insecurities. In that critical moment, Deku remembered the trust and connection he shared with Naruto. Drawing strength from that memory, he adjusted his strategy, countering the foe's every attack with a fluid combination of martial finesse and tactical brilliance. The spectral enemy, unable to withstand the onslaught of Deku's newfound resolve, faded into nothingness. The labyrinth seemed endless, each corridor presenting a new set of challenges, rapid-fire attacks, deceptive illusions, and ever-shifting obstacles designed to disorient and demoralize. Through it all, the brothers fought side by side, their movements a perfect blend of strategy and raw emotion. The very air around them shimmered with the energy of their struggle, and every strike, every block, resonated with the sound of clashing wills. At one particularly critical juncture, the labyrinth's floor gave way to a pit of swirling energy. Without warning, Naruto was hurled into the chasm. For a suspended moment, time seemed to slow. Deku's heart pounded in his ears as he watched his brother vanish into the maelstrom. In that heart-stopping instant, every lesson, every moment of shared hardship flashed before his eyes. Summoning every ounce of his strength, Deku leaped after Naruto, propelled by a bond that transcended fear. Inside the pit, the environment transformed into a crucible of its own, a place where physical might was meaningless unless tempered by the strength of spirit. Flames and energy danced chaotically around them as they landed on a platform of scorched stone. Here, the trial took on an intimate quality. No longer was it about overcoming external adversaries. It was about confronting the inner tumult that had driven them thus far. As they struggled to regain their footing, spectral images emerged from the shifting energy, a montage of painful memories, failures, and insecurities that had haunted each brother in their darkest moments. For Deku, it was the echo of every time he had felt inadequate, every moment of self-doubt that had nearly crushed his spirit. For Naruto, it was the bitter recollection of loneliness, of being misunderstood and cast aside. These manifestations were not tangible foes. They were reflections of the pain that had shaped them, the emotional scars that had driven them to become who they were. With grim determination, Deku and Naruto squared their shoulders and faced these inner demons. "I won't let these memories hold me back," Deku murmured, his voice firm and resolute as he stepped forward. "I am more than my doubts, more than my failures." Naruto's reply was a fierce, echoing roar. "I've been alone for too long, but I'm not alone anymore. I'm fighting for every moment, every person who believed in me, and I won't back down." Drawing from the well of their combined experiences, the brothers unleashed a tandem assault. Their fists and feet became instruments of pure willpower. Deku's calculated strikes were perfectly complemented by Naruto's explosive, heartfelt blows. Together, they drove back the spectral phantoms, each enemy disintegrating into particles of light and vanishing into the ether. In that pit, every blow delivered was a step toward reclaiming their true selves, a moment where every scar, every tear, was transformed into a source of strength. As the battle in the labyrinth reached a fevered pitch, the arena itself seemed to react. The once fiery walls of the trial began to coalesce into a vast, open space, a circular arena rimmed by pillars of incandescent light. Here, the air was thick with a charged stillness, as if the cosmos had paused to bear witness to their struggle. Beerus's voice reverberated once more, both a challenge and an affirmation of what they had already accomplished. "You have proven your physical prowess and the strength of your bond," Beerus intoned, his tone measured and grave. "But true power is forged not only in the heat of combat but in the endurance of the spirit. Your next trial is one of stamina, a test of your ability to persist when every fiber of your being cries out for relief." At that moment, the arena transformed again. The ground beneath the brothers turned to a surface of cracked, smoldering earth, and a searing wind began to blow, an unrelenting gale of heat and abrasive force. The environment was designed to push them to the limits of their endurance. Each step became a battle against fatigue. Every breath was a struggle against the overwhelming heat. Deku and Naruto pressed on, their movements growing labored but never faltering. The wind howled around them, carrying with it sparks and fragments of flame that danced dangerously close to their skin. As they advanced, the path ahead was lined with towering pillars of fire that periodically erupted, showering the arena with incandescent embers. Every moment was an exercise in resilience, a test of whether the strength of their spirit could triumph over the brutal forces of nature. In the midst of this crucible, Naruto began to slow. The relentless heat had sapped his energy, and every step became a monumental effort. Seeing his brother faltering, Deku closed the gap between them. "Naruto, keep going!" he shouted over the roar of the flames. "We have to see this through. Our journey isn't just about raw power, it's about enduring when it hurts the most." Naruto's eyes flashed with determination as he pushed himself onward. I know. I'm not letting you down," he panted, his voice cracking with exhaustion yet burning with unyielding spirit. With Deku's steady presence at his side, Naruto found a second wind. Together they forged ahead, each step a testament to their relentless willpower and the bond that anchored them in the storm. Time lost its meaning in that infernal arena. Minutes, perhaps hours, passed as the brothers battled both the physical agony and the creeping despair that sought to wear them down. Every muscle burned, every breath was a struggle, but with every forward step, they reasserted their determination. Amid the tempest of fire and wind, their hearts beat as one, a rhythmic defiance against a world that demanded surrender. At last, the scorching winds began to abate, and the ground beneath them softened into a more forgiving terrain. The pillars of fire dimmed, and a hush fell over the arena. It was as though the trial, in all its brutal intensity, had reached its conclusion. In that moment of calm, Deku and Naruto stood side by side, their chests heaving with exertion and sweat glistening on their foreheads. They had endured the trial of fire and fist. The flames had tested their physical limits, while the spectral battles and punishing endurance trials had laid bare the true metal of their spirit. Beerus descended once more onto the central dais, his expression inscrutable as he surveyed the two brothers. "You have endured the crucible of fire and fist," he pronounced, his voice both an acknowledgement of their achievement and a portent of challenges yet to come. "Your bodies may bear the marks of battle, but it is the strength of your spirit and the unbreakable nature of your bond that will see you through the trials ahead." Deku, still catching his breath, looked to his brother with a mixture of exhaustion and pride. It wasn't just about punching through walls of flame or defeating the illusions of our past, he said slowly. It was about realizing that every trial, no matter how brutal, is a step towards becoming who we're meant to be. Naruto, leaning heavily on Deku's shoulder, nodded. I've never felt more alive than in moments like these, when every ounce of pain and sweat feels like it's building something greater. We're not just training our bodies, we're forging our destiny. For long minutes, the two brothers simply stood there, the quiet hum of the recovering arena echoing around them. The trial had been more than a test. It had been a crucible that stripped away all pretense, revealing the raw, unadulterated essence of their being. In the flickering afterglow of the arena's flames, they saw not only the scars of battle but the bright sparks of potential, waiting to ignite into a power that could reshape the cosmos. Beerus's gaze lingered on them as he continued. Remember this day. Recall the pain, the fire, and the strength that you found within yourselves. These are not burdens but blessings. They are the very crucible in which true heroes are made. Continue to train, to push beyond your limits, and to honor the bond that makes you stronger together. The words resonated deeply with Deku and Naruto, each syllable a reminder of the journey they had undertaken. As the arena's magical energy slowly receded, returning them to the familiar, humble surroundings of Hanayama, the brothers knew that the trial was only one step in a much larger odyssey. Their muscles ached, their bodies bore the marks of relentless training, but within them burned a fierce light, a promise of growth, of future challenges, and of victories yet to be claimed. Later that evening, as twilight painted the sky in shades of lavender and indigo, Deku and Naruto returned to their home. They sat together in the quiet of their small living room, the soft glow of lantern light mingling with the gentle crackle of the hearth. Their silence was comfortable, a wordless conversation built on shared experiences and the understanding that every trial they endured was a chapter in the story of their evolution. Naruto broke the silence first. You know, I used to think that strength was all about power and speed, he said, his voice thoughtful. But today, I learned that true strength is about enduring, about rising every time you fall, even when the heat of life tries to burn you out. Deku's eyes shone with quiet determination as he replied. Every trial is a lesson. The fire we endured wasn't there just to test us. It was there to purify us, to strip away what was unnecessary so that what remains is the core of who we are. We must carry this lesson with us, no matter how fierce the storms ahead may become. In that gentle exchange, the echoes of the day's battles reverberated, a reminder that their journey was both painful and beautiful. They had faced the flames, they had thrown punches in the face of fear, and through it all, they had emerged not unscathed, but undeniably stronger. Their bond, forged in the crucible of shared hardship, was the wellspring of their resolve. In the weeks that followed, as the memory of the trials slowly blended with the everyday rhythms of village life, the brothers immersed themselves in training with renewed fervor. Their bodies ached from the relentless drills, yet every drop of sweat, every bruise, was a badge of honor, a testament to the journey they were on. They practiced at dawn and continued long into the night, their training sessions a blend of martial discipline and spiritual introspection. They revisited the lessons of the trial, pushing themselves further each day, knowing that each step prepared them for the next, more challenging chapter of their destiny. Naruto's training grew more explosive. He worked on refining his chakra control, his techniques evolving to become faster and more precise. Deku, with his analytical mind, studied every nuance of his body's response, blending his physical techniques with a deep understanding of his limits and potential. Together, they sparred in the open fields outside Hanayama, their movements a harmonious blend of strategy and instinct. Their fights were more than just physical contests. They were dialogues of passion and reason, a perpetual exchange of energy that deepened their understanding of themselves and of each other. One evening, after an especially grueling training session, the brothers sat on a hillside overlooking the village. The sunset blazed in the sky, echoing the colors of the arena they had left behind. You know, Deku began, his voice quiet against the rustling wind. I think the trial was more than just a test of our strength. It was a call to embrace every part of ourselves, even the parts that hurt. Naruto's gaze fixed on the horizon, his eyes reflecting the fiery glow of the setting sun. "Yeah, it's like every scar, every bruise. It's a reminder that we're alive, that we're growing. And as long as we have each other, there's nothing we can't overcome." Their words merged with the twilight, an unspoken vow that the flame of their spirit would never be extinguished. They knew that the path ahead was fraught with challenges far beyond the confines of the trial, but the lessons learned in the crucible of fire and fist, of enduring pain, embracing sacrifice, and forging an unbreakable bond, would guide them through every battle yet to come. As the days turned into weeks, the memory of the trial by fire and fist became a quiet source of inspiration in Hanayama. Villagers began to speak in hushed, respectful tones about the extraordinary training the two brothers had undertaken, a testament to the idea that true strength was not merely the product of physical might, but of spirit and unity. Master Hachiro, who had witnessed the trial firsthand, would often say that the day Beerus summoned them was the day destiny began to shape a new era. For Deku and Naruto, the trial was a milestone, a transformative experience that had revealed the hidden reservoirs of strength within them. Each time they faced a setback or felt the weight of self-doubt, they recalled the inferno of the arena and the spectral battles fought within its depths. In those memories burned the lessons of endurance, sacrifice, and the unyielding power of a bond forged in the crucible of destiny. Standing together before the ancient archway, the silent witness to the beginning of their journey, the brothers reaffirmed their commitment to their training. "We've come so far," Deku said, his tone both reflective and determined. "But we still have a long way to go. Every trial, every moment of pain, is a step toward our true potential." Naruto placed his hand on Deku's shoulder, a confident smile playing on his lips. "And as long as we stick together, there's no fire too hot and no enemy too strong for us to handle." Night had fallen once more over Hanayama, and as the stars began to pierce the dark velvet sky, the embers of that monumental day still glowed in the hearts of Deku and Naruto. They had faced the trial by fire and fist and emerged not only with scars but with an unwavering belief in the strength of their bond. In the silence of that night, as the village slept unaware of the cosmic forces at play, the brothers made a silent vow to carry forward the lessons of the trial, to train relentlessly, and to ensure that every spark of their spirit would one day ignite into a power that could change the fate of worlds. In the soft glow of the moonlight, Deku looked up at the stars and whispered, "The fire we face today isn't just a memory, it's a promise. A promise that even in the darkest times, our light will shine through." Naruto's voice, filled with conviction, answered the night. "And together, nothing can stop us. We're not just brothers, we're a force of nature." Thus, beneath the celestial tapestry, the legacy of their trial was sealed. The journey ahead would be long and arduous, filled with challenges that would test every limit. But in the heart of that trial by fire and fist, Deku and Naruto had discovered a truth as old as the cosmos, that true strength is born not in moments of ease, but in the crucible of adversity, when every flame that threatens to consume us instead forges us into something greater. And so, as the night gave way to a new dawn, the two brothers stepped forward into a future awash with possibility. Their bodies might be bruised and their spirits battle-worn, but the embers of that day burned bright within them, a constant reminder that the path of true heroes is lit by the fires of sacrifice, unity, and an unbreakable will to overcome. The dawn that broke over Hanayama was unlike any other. As the first light of day stretched its golden fingers over the horizon, Deku and Naruto felt within themselves an undeniable stirring, a quiet murmur at the edges of their consciousness that promised change. The previous trials had been harsh teachers, refining their strengths and exposing their vulnerabilities, but now, as the world awoke, so too did something deeper within them. Something that defied simple explanation, a latent force that, once awakened, would redefine the limits of their power. In the hush of early morning, the village lay draped in a serene mist. The air was cool, almost reverent, as if nature itself was holding its breath in anticipation. Deku and Naruto had risen before sunrise, compelled by an inner call that had grown louder with each trial. Together, they left their modest home and trekked toward the ancient training grounds, a secluded clearing encircled by towering oak trees whose gnarled branches whispered secrets of times long past. As they walked, the brothers fell into a comfortable silence. Every step they took was measured and deliberate, each footfall echoing the resolve that had been forged in fire and adversity. They had come to understand that their power was not something to be honed in isolation. Instead, it was a symphony of energies, one that blended the relentless spirit of a ninja with the calculated, explosive might of a hero. Today, they would begin to explore this convergence, to awaken the dual powers that had lain dormant, waiting for the precise moment to coalesce. Naruto was the first to break the silence. "Deku, have you ever felt it? Like, deep inside, there's this current that's been building up, just waiting for the right moment to break free?" His voice was low and earnest, carrying the weight of experiences both painful and triumphant. Deku's hazel eyes shone with understanding. "Every time we push ourselves beyond our limits, I feel it intensify. It's as if our quirks and our chakra aren't separate at all, but different expressions of a single, unified force. I think this is our destiny, to merge these energies and discover a power we never knew we had." Their conversation led them to the edge of the forest, where an ancient ruin lay hidden beneath layers of ivy and thyme. The structure, a circular stone edifice adorned with intricate carvings, had long been whispered about among the elders. It was said that the ruin was a relic from an era when cosmic energies flowed freely between worlds, a sacred site where the boundaries between mortal ability and divine power blurred. As they approached, the atmosphere shifted perceptibly. The air grew warmer, and a subtle hum resonated from within the stone walls, as though the ruin itself were alive. The brothers stepped inside the circular chamber, their senses overwhelmed by the aura of antiquity and latent magic. Every surface bore runes and symbols that glowed faintly with an inner light, hints of a language lost to time but whose meaning resonated in the depths of their souls. Deku ran his fingertips over the smooth stone, feeling an energy that pulsed beneath the surface. "This place, it's like it was built to awaken something. I feel as though it's calling to us." Naruto's eyes danced with excitement. "Yeah, it's like the air here is charged. I can almost taste the power in every breath." He circled around the central altar that dominated the chamber, a stone slab inscribed with dual motifs of swirling energy and a spiraling vortex. It reminded him uncomfortably of the Rasengan he'd honed over years of struggle, yet it also hinted at something more profound. Standing before the altar, the two brothers exchanged a look of shared resolve. They knew that the next phase of their journey required them to tap into the very essence of their beings, to bridge the gap between their distinct powers and unlock a synthesis that had remained elusive until now. The training began in earnest. Over the following days, as the sun carved its path across the sky and shadows danced in the fading light of dusk, Deku and Naruto immersed themselves in the ancient arts preserved by the ruin. They practiced meditative exercises in the quiet solitude of the chamber, focusing their minds on the energies that coursed through them. Slowly, the barrier between Deku's explosive quirk energy and Naruto's potent chakra began to thin. In one particularly grueling session, the brothers sat cross-legged on the cool stone floor, their eyes closed in deep concentration. The only sound was the rhythmic beating of their hearts and the faint echo of distant memories. Each inhalation was deliberate, a drawing in of the ambient energy that filled the room, and every exhalation released the tension that had accumulated from days of relentless training. Deku's thoughts drifted back to the words of Beerus. The god of destruction had challenged them not only to test their physical limits but to delve into the very core of their being. "True power," Beerus had said, "lies in the harmony between your strengths and your inner self. Embrace both, and you shall transcend the ordinary." As Deku meditated, he began to sense a subtle resonance, a faint, pulsing glow that mirrored the rhythm of his heartbeat. It was as though the ancient runes in the ruin were awakening a long-dormant part of his soul. Simultaneously, Naruto experienced a similar stirring. His chakra, usually wild and unpredictable, began to ebb and flow in a controlled, harmonious manner. The two sensations, though different in nature, seemed to echo each other, hinting at a shared destiny. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, a vibrant aura began to form around each of them. For Deku, it was a swirling amalgam of golden energy that radiated from his core, an embodiment of his indomitable spirit and the legacy of his heroic lineage. For Naruto, it was a pulsating field of blue chakra, luminous and fierce, reflecting the relentless fire of his will. And as they continued to meditate side by side, the energies began to merge at the edges, forming a brilliant interface of light and power. One crisp morning, As pale sunlight filtered through the ancient trees outside, the breakthrough finally came. The brothers had spent countless hours synchronizing their breathing, their thoughts, and their movements. They had practiced throwing punches in perfect unison, creating ripples of energy that intermingled and reinforced one another. Yet, despite their progress, the true merging of their powers had remained elusive, until that moment. In the center of the ruins chamber, the brothers stood before the ancient altar. Today, the atmosphere was charged with an intensity that made the very air hum. The runes on the walls glowed brighter than ever, and a sense of expectancy filled the room. They exchanged determined glances, knowing that the next step would not be easy. It was a leap of faith, a surrender to the unknown that lay within and between them. "Are you ready, Naruto?" Deku asked, his voice steady yet tinged with anticipation. Naruto's eyes shone with a fierce, unwavering light. "I've never been more ready for anything in my life. Let's do this together." They stepped forward and placed their palms against the smooth stone of the altar, each feeling the cold solidity of history and the warmth of cosmic energy coursing through the marble. At that moment, the ancient inscriptions flared to life, sending cascades of shimmering light across the chamber. The energy from the runes, the residual power of countless generations, swirled around them like a living tapestry. It was as if the universe itself was acknowledging their intent, offering its silent blessing on this unprecedented union. Slowly, the energies within them surged upward. Deku's golden aura intertwined with Naruto's brilliant blue, creating streams of radiant light that spiraled upward and outwards. The merging was not a violent collision but a graceful dance, a harmonious blending of two distinct forces into a singular, powerful whole. The room seemed to vibrate with the intensity of the union, and the very fabric of reality bent around the spectacle. In that transcendent moment, time itself appeared to slow. Every heartbeat, every breath, was magnified in its significance. The brothers' eyes locked, their souls communicating in a language beyond words. There was no fear, no hesitation, only a profound certainty that they were on the cusp of discovering something extraordinary. A shockwave of energy erupted from the altar, enveloping them in a cocoon of light. In that instant, their individual powers no longer existed in isolation. Instead, they became aspects of a single, unified force, a power that was as much about connection and trust as it was about raw ability. The brilliant fusion of golden and blue light radiated outward, filling the chamber with a warmth and brilliance that seemed to transcend mortal limits. When the light subsided, Deku and Naruto stood transformed. Their eyes, once a mirror of their individual struggles, now burned with a shared determination. They could feel it, a new power within them, pulsating with the combined might of their heritage, their training, and the love that bound them as brothers. It was as if the very essence of their beings had been redefined, their separate identities merging to create something far greater than the sum of its parts. The immediate aftermath of the convergence was both exhilarating and disorienting. For several long moments, the brothers simply stood in silence, absorbing the magnitude of what had just occurred. Every nerve in their bodies sang with newfound energy, every fiber of their being alive with the promise of untold potential. I can feel it, Naruto," Deku managed, his voice trembling slightly with awe. "It's like everything inside me has shifted. I can sense our strength, intertwined. It's not just one for all or chakra anymore. It's something new." Naruto's grin widened, his eyes sparkling with a mix of exhilaration and mischief. "I know what you mean, bro. It's like we're no longer just two warriors, we're one unstoppable force. I can feel the energy surging, ready to explode into something incredible." They decided to test their new abilities in earnest. Stepping back into the open clearing outside the ruin, the brothers found that the air around them seemed charged with possibility. Every movement they made was accompanied by a subtle trail of combined light, golden and blue intertwining like the threads of destiny. The ground beneath their feet vibrated in response, as if acknowledging the birth of a new power. With a shared nod, they began a series of drills that would put their newfound abilities to the test. At first, they practiced basic movements, running, jumping, and leaping in synchrony, all the while maintaining the delicate balance of their merged energies. It was not long before they moved on to more advanced techniques. Deku, drawing on his strategic brilliance, proposed that they try to integrate the explosive power of One for All with Naruto's signature Rasengan technique. They began with slow, deliberate motions, Deku channeled his quirk energy into a controlled burst of strength, while Naruto focused his chakra into a swirling vortex in his palm. As they pressed their hands together in midair, the energies began to merge, forming a glowing sphere of light. With a simultaneous thrust of their arms, they propelled the sphere forward. The impact was like a collision of celestial bodies, a blinding flash of golden blue light that sent shockwaves rippling through the clearing. The force of their newly combined attack shattered nearby stones and sent ripples across the landscape, leaving a testament to their newfound unity. The brothers spent hours repeating the exercise, each attempt refining their technique. With every pass, the fusion of their powers became smoother, more instinctive. They experimented with variations, channeling the energy into defensive shields, creating concentrated bursts to shatter obstacles, and even manipulating the form of their merged energy to suit different combat scenarios. Their training was intense, a blend of rigorous physical exertion and delicate, almost meditative focus, as they sought to master the art of dual power. Yet the physical manifestations of their newfound power were only one aspect of the awakening. Equally important was the spiritual journey that lay within. As they trained, Deku and Naruto realized that the true potential of their dual power was not solely measured by its destructive capacity, but by its ability to inspire hope and bring about positive change. Their combined energy radiated a warmth that seemed to heal minor wounds, mend broken spirits, and foster an unbreakable sense of camaraderie among those who witnessed it. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sky was set ablaze with shades of crimson and violet, the brothers sat by a small, crackling fire near the training grounds. Their bodies were tired, every muscle aching from the day's exertions, but their hearts were light, buoyed by the exhilaration of discovery. Deku broke the silence with a reflective tone. "I've been thinking a lot about what this power really means. It isn't just about fighting or being stronger than our enemies. It's about using what we have to protect the people we care about. To bring light into even the darkest of times." Naruto's eyes softened as he nodded in agreement. "Yeah, it's like every time we combine our powers, it reminds me of everything we've been through. All the hardships, all the moments when we almost gave up, they all led us here. I want to use this power not just for battles, but to inspire others, to show them that no matter how tough things get, there's always a way to overcome it." Their conversation drifted into the realm of philosophy and destiny, the embers of the fire reflecting their inner flames. They spoke of sacrifice, of the importance of unity, and of the responsibilities that came with such immense power. In that quiet communion of thoughts and shared resolve, Deku and Naruto solidified their commitment to not only master their dual power but to wield it with wisdom and compassion. News of the brothers' progress spread quickly throughout Hanayama. Whispers of a unique power, one that blended the explosive force of one for all with the mystic flow of chakra, began to circulate among villagers and fellow warriors alike. Many were in awe, while others could only wonder at the possibilities this new force might unlock. But for Deku and Naruto, the true test was yet to come. One day, as the village prepared for the annual festival, a time when celebrations and friendly competitions filled the air with joy, the two brothers received a challenge. A rival training group, renowned for their martial prowess and deeply rooted in traditional techniques, had heard of the mysterious power that Deku and Naruto were cultivating. Skeptical and somewhat envious, they demanded a demonstration of this fusion power in a controlled match, confident that their own refined techniques would easily outshine the newcomers. Under the watchful eyes of curious onlookers and the respectful nods of the village elders, the stage was set in an open arena. The atmosphere was electric, every heart pounding in anticipation of what was about to unfold. Deku and Naruto stepped forward together, their combined aura shimmering like a beacon. The rival team attacked with a barrage of swift strikes and precise kicks, their movements honed through years of discipline. But as they clashed with the brothers, it soon became evident that the power of dual fusion was something extraordinary. In a dazzling display of teamwork and raw energy, Deku and Naruto moved as one. Each attack was a symphony of motion, a seamless blend of calculated strength and instinctive ferocity. When one of the rivals launched a high-speed assault, Deku intercepted with a burst of golden energy, channeling his strength into a precise parry. At the same moment, Naruto countered with a spiraling vortex of blue chakra that enveloped the attacker, momentarily disorienting him. The combined force of their synchronized strikes created shockwaves that resonated through the arena, leaving their opponents staggered and awestruck. For a moment, time itself seemed to stand still as the fused energy of Deku and Naruto manifested in its fullest glory. Their technique had evolved beyond a mere physical attack. It was a display of unity, of hearts beating as one, of souls intertwined by a common purpose. The crowd erupted in cheers, witnessing not just a martial contest, but the birth of a power that promised hope and renewal in a troubled world. After the match, as the rival team offered their grudging respect, Deku and Naruto took a quiet moment to themselves. They sat beneath an ancient cherry blossom tree at the edge of the arena, petals gently drifting in the soft evening breeze. The tranquility of the moment provided them a chance to reflect on the day's events, to appreciate the journey that had led them to this singular moment in time. Deku's voice was soft but resolute as he spoke. Every challenge we face, every enemy we overcome, only serves to remind me that our true strength lies in our connection. The fusion of our powers is not just a means to an end, it's a symbol of our shared commitment to build a better future. Naruto nodded, his eyes gleaming with unshed tears of determination. I feel it in every beat of my heart, bro. This isn't just about being the strongest fighters out there. It's about being the kind of warriors who light the way for others, who show that even when the world is at its darkest, there's a spark within us all that can ignite change. In the weeks that followed, the awakening of their dual powers had transformed the daily lives of Deku and Naruto. They continued their rigorous training, experimenting with new techniques and refining their already formidable abilities. Their sessions in the ancient ruin evolved into a sacred ritual, a time for introspection, mutual support, and the continuous expansion of their shared potential. At times, they would venture to remote locations beyond Hanayama, seeking out challenges that pushed them to the very edge of their abilities. In one such expedition, they journeyed to a mountainous region where the thin air and rugged terrain tested their endurance like never before. Battling harsh winds and icy slopes, the brothers were forced to rely not only on their physical strength but on the seamless integration of their powers to overcome nature's brutal challenges. One crisp winter morning, as frost glittered on the edges of the rocky path, they encountered a massive boulder blocking their way. The obstacle seemed insurmountable at first glance, yet the brothers exchanged a determined glance. Drawing upon their fused power, they combined Deku's unyielding force with Naruto's swirling chakra, channeling their energies into a concentrated burst that shattered the rock into dust. It was a moment of pure triumph, a testament to their growth and the limitless possibilities that their dual power now represented. During these journeys, the brothers also encountered other warriors, some who sought to learn from their example, and others who challenged their newfound techniques. With every encounter, Deku and Naruto shared their insights, sometimes engaging in friendly sparring sessions that enriched their understanding of the delicate balance between power and humility. They became a living bridge between disparate worlds, showing that strength was most potent when tempered with compassion and unity. However, the awakening of dual powers was not without its challenges. As the brothers delved deeper into the fusion of their abilities, they also became increasingly aware of the burdens that accompanied such immense power. There were moments of doubt, when the sheer scale of their potential felt overwhelming, a reminder that every gift from the cosmos came with its own price. Late one night, after an intense training session that left them both bruised and exhausted, Deku and Naruto sat together under a starlit sky. The cool night air carried the distant hum of the universe, and the soft glow of constellations offered a gentle counterpoint to the inner turmoil that sometimes threatened to unbalance them. Deku broke the silence, his tone introspective. Sometimes I worry that if we push too hard, if we let this power consume us, we might lose ourselves in it. The fusion of our energies is incredible, but it also makes me wonder, what if we forget who we are in the process? Naruto's gaze softened as he considered his brother's words. I get it, Deku. But I think that's why our bond is so important. As long as we remember where we came from, who we're fighting for, and the sacrifices that brought us here, we won't lose ourselves. This power, it's a responsibility, but it's also a promise that no matter how dark things get, there's always light in the union of our hearts. Their words, spoken softly beneath the endless night sky, were a reminder that true power was not measured solely by the magnitude of one's abilities, but by the wisdom and compassion that guided them. In the quiet interplay of shadows and starlight, the brothers made a silent vow to honor the legacy of their past, to nurture the promise of their future, and to ensure that their awakened dual power would always be a force for good. As time passed, the influence of Deku and Naruto's merged power began to ripple far beyond the borders of Hanayama. Their exploits, once seen as mere training exercises, evolved into legends that inspired neighboring villages and distant lands alike. Warriors and scholars sought them out, eager to learn about the mysterious energy that bridged the realms of quirk and chakra. Even Beerus, the enigmatic god of destruction, observed these developments from afar, his inscrutable gaze reflecting a mixture of approval and anticipation for what was yet to come. In one memorable instance, a delegation of skilled fighters from a distant province arrived at Hanayama, bearing tales of a looming threat, a darkness that was slowly encroaching upon the delicate balance of the world. They had heard whispers of a power that could counteract this impending doom, a force born from the unification of two disparate energies. Deku and Naruto, now recognized not merely as warriors but as beacons of hope, listened intently. They knew that their journey was far from over. Rather, it was evolving into a responsibility that extended beyond their own ambitions. The brothers agreed to lend their strength to the cause, embarking on a new expedition to confront the shadow that threatened the world. As they prepared to leave Hanayama, the villagers gathered to bid them farewell, a mixture of hope, pride, and quiet apprehension in their eyes. Among them, Master Hachiro offered a few parting words of wisdom. Remember that every challenge you face, every hardship you endure, is but a stepping stone on the path to greatness. Your power is a gift, one that must be used not for domination, but for the betterment of all. Deku and Naruto set out on this new quest with hearts ablaze and a dual power that shone like a beacon in the darkness. The road ahead was fraught with uncertainty, but the brothers were unbowed. They had learned that their strength lay not only in the extraordinary abilities they wielded but in the bond that had been forged through trials and sacrifice. And so, with each step they took into the vast unknown, they carried with them the legacy of their past, the promise of their unified power, and the hope of a brighter future. In the quiet moments that followed each victory and in the lingering silence after every battle, Deku and Naruto would often return to the ancient ruin, a place that had witnessed the awakening of their dual powers. There, amidst the faded ruins and the gentle murmur of timeless energies, they found solace and reflection. It was a sanctuary where the noise of the world fell away, leaving only the soft cadence of their shared heartbeat. They would sit side by side, sometimes in comfortable silence, sometimes sharing memories of their arduous journey, from the fiery trials to the tender moments of introspection. In those moments, they were reminded that the true measure of power was not in grand gestures or overwhelming force, but in the quiet determination to persevere and to grow stronger together. As they gazed at the horizon, where the first light of a new day promised endless possibilities, the brothers understood that their journey was unending. Every challenge was a stepping stone, every trial a lesson, and every fusion of their energies a reaffirmation of the truth that bound them, that the power of unity could overcome any darkness, and that together, they were capable of reshaping the very fabric of destiny. Deku's voice, gentle yet resolute, often echoed in those quiet moments. We may not know what the future holds, but I know that as long as we stand together, our light will guide us through even the darkest times. Naruto would smile in agreement, replying, "Yeah, bro, whatever comes our way, we've got each other. And that's a power no one can ever take away." Thus, beneath the timeless gaze of ancient stones and the endless sky, the awakening of dual powers marked not an end, but the beginning of a new era, a chapter where the fusion of two extraordinary souls would continue to inspire hope, courage, and the unyielding belief that unity is the truest form of strength. And so, the legacy of Deku and Naruto, of their intertwined destinies and awakened dual powers, blazed on, an eternal flame lighting the path for heroes yet to come. The night was thick with silence and secrets, a darkness that seeped into every crevice of Hanayama and into the hearts of its people. For Deku and Naruto, the battle against external foes and the awakening of their dual powers had been monumental milestones. Yet, beneath the blazing glory of their outward strength, a more insidious challenge stirred, the shadows within. These were not mere reflections of past failures or doubts, but deep-seated phantoms, fragments of pain, guilt, and fear that clung to their souls. In this chapter, the brothers would face the inner demons that had haunted them for years, learning that true strength required not only mastery of their powers but also acceptance of their darkest parts. As dusk bled into night, the world around Hanayama grew hushed. The once familiar landscapes now seemed veiled in a spectral light, as if the very air whispered ancient regrets. For Deku, the memories of countless solitary training sessions and moments of despair began to merge into a chorus of inner voices. Every scar, every bruise on his soul, told a story of failure, a story of a boy who had once felt too weak to protect those he loved. In the solitude of his room, Deku stared at a faded photograph of his family. The image, worn by time, bore silent witness to happier days. Yet, as the shadows lengthened, he felt the weight of expectations, the unspoken belief that he was destined to become a hero. That belief had driven him relentlessly, but it had also isolated him. Now, in the quiet darkness, the pressure morphed into a relentless barrage of self-doubt. "Am I truly worthy?" he whispered into the night, his voice trembling with vulnerability. Meanwhile, Naruto wrestled with his own memories. In his mind's eye, flashes of painful rejection and the loneliness of his youth surged forth, visions of times when his fiery spirit was met with scorn and isolation. Though he had learned to transform that pain into strength, the memories of every harsh word and every moment of abandonment still lurked in the corners of his heart. Sitting by a small window in his room, Naruto traced the scars that life had etched into him, both visible and hidden. "I fought so hard to be acknowledged," he murmured, the night echoing his sorrow. "But what if that fire inside me is nothing more than a mask for the loneliness I've always felt?" Unbeknownst to them, these internal battles were not isolated incidents, but part of a larger tapestry woven from the threads of their pasts. Their minds, still reeling from the trials of fire, fist, and the awakening of their dual power, now had to confront a realm far more personal and perilous, the landscape of their own souls. One night, as a cold wind howled outside and the moon hid behind thick, brooding clouds, both brothers found themselves ensnared in a vivid, shared dream. It was as if the ancient energies they had unlocked had opened a portal not only to greater power but also to the hidden recesses of their inner selves. In this dreamscape, the world around them was an endless void, punctuated by flickering images of their darkest memories. Deku found himself alone in a barren wasteland, where the ground was littered with broken fragments of mirrors. Each shard reflected a different moment of his life: the pain of rejection from those who doubted his potential, the silent tears of a child who had once believed that his efforts would never be enough, and the haunting face of failure. As he reached out to touch one of the shards, a voice echoed, a voice filled with bitterness and despair. "You are nothing," it hissed. "Every step you take only proves your inadequacy." The phantom of his past loomed before him, a younger version of himself, small and trembling, eyes wide with the fear of a future unfulfilled. In another corner of the dream, Naruto stood on the edge of a vast chasm. The roar of unseen winds drowned out all sound, and below him, the darkness was impenetrable. Suddenly, spectral figures emerged from the abyss, faces of those who had once scorned him, moments of loneliness and betrayal given flesh and form. One figure, wearing the mask of an old adversary, spat venomous words. "You will always be alone. No matter how hard you fight, you are destined to be forgotten." As Naruto tried to step back, the chasm seemed to widen, threatening to swallow him whole with the weight of his own insecurities. In this shared dream, the boundaries between Deku's inner torment and Naruto's unhealed wounds blurred. Their separate struggles merged into one haunting tableau, a confrontation with the deepest, darkest parts of their souls. And in that moment, as their dreams intertwined, a realization dawned upon them. These shadows were not external enemies to be vanquished by brute strength or flashy techniques. They were parts of themselves, reflections of the pain they had endured and the sacrifices they had made. When morning finally broke, both brothers awoke with the lingering residue of the dream. It clung to them like a mist, a reminder that the battles they had fought on the training grounds were only half the war. The true test lay in confronting the shadows within, in accepting that the darkest parts of their past could be transformed into sources of strength. At first light, the brothers met near the ancient archway where their journey had begun. The air was crisp, and the first rays of the sun painted the world in hues of gold and hope. Yet the glow of dawn did little to dispel the lingering heaviness in their hearts. Deku's voice was soft as he said, Last night I saw my past, the times I felt so utterly powerless. Those memories, they still hurt me, and I'm scared that if I don't face them, they'll always hold me back." His eyes, usually so full of determination, were shadowed with uncertainty. Naruto nodded solemnly, his gaze drifting to the horizon. "I dreamed of all the times I was alone, of every time I felt abandoned. It was like reliving all those moments of loneliness all at once. But maybe it's telling me something. That these experiences, as painful as they were, made me who I am. They built the fire that drives me now." He paused, his voice catching as he added, "I want to be free of that pain, not by forgetting it, but by understanding it." Realizing that words alone would not dispel the darkness within, the brothers decided to seek guidance from Master Hachiro, a venerable sage whose wisdom had long been a beacon for the people of Hanayama. The old master, known for his deep connection with both the spiritual and physical realms, welcomed them into his modest abode. In a room lined with ancient scrolls and softly glowing lanterns, Master Hachiro listened intently to their confessions. "My dear ones," he began, his voice calm and measured, "the shadows you see are not curses, but part of the tapestry that makes you who you are. Every hero has faced darkness within. The path to true power is not only in conquering your enemies but in embracing every fragment of your soul, even the parts that you deem dark or painful." He paused, letting his words sink in. "It is through understanding and accepting these shadows that you can transform them. Only then will your inner light shine without fear of being dimmed by the past." Inspired by his wisdom, Deku and Naruto embarked on a series of introspective exercises under Master Hachiro's tutelage. They learned meditation techniques designed to delve deep into the recesses of their minds, to confront and reconcile with the painful memories that lay dormant. In the quiet solitude of the training hall, they sat in silence for hours, each lost in the labyrinth of their thoughts. Over the next several days, the brothers ventured into places that had long been associated with memories of both joy and sorrow. They returned to the ruins of their childhood playground, where echoes of laughter once filled the air, but now stood as silent reminders of the times when dreams were shattered by harsh reality. They visited an abandoned training ground where Deku had once been ridiculed, and where Naruto had been mocked for his boundless enthusiasm. With each step, they recounted their stories aloud, sharing the details of their fears, their failures, and the moments when the weight of the world seemed unbearable. During these excursions, they encountered individuals who had once played pivotal roles in their pasts. Some were old mentors who now spoke in gentle, reflective tones, urging them to see that every hardship was a lesson in disguise. Others were former adversaries whose eyes, softened by time, reflected a mutual understanding of shared pain. In these interactions, the brothers began to see that the shadows within were universal. They were a part of every life touched by struggle and loss. One crisp autumn afternoon, as leaves of amber and gold danced in the wind, Deku and Naruto found themselves at the edge of a serene lake. The water, calm and reflective, mirrored their weary faces back at them. Sitting at the water's edge, they spoke of the times when their inner darkness had nearly overwhelmed them. "I remember a moment when I thought I had failed everyone," Deku confessed quietly, watching the ripples distort his reflection. "Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw not a hero, but a boy full of doubts and regrets." His voice trembled as he recalled the isolation he had felt, a painful reminder of every time he had been unable to protect those he loved. Naruto's expression softened as he listened, and then he spoke, his tone resolute. "I, too, have faced moments where the loneliness was so overwhelming that I felt like I was drowning in it. But I've come to realize that those moments, as painful as they were, also taught me about the strength of my spirit. They forced me to rise again and again." He gestured toward the shimmering lake. "Look at that water. Every ripple is a mark of something that disturbed its calm. But over time, the ripples fade, and the surface becomes still again. I think that's what we need to do with our pain, allow it to ripple through us, learn from it, and then let it settle into something beautiful." The conversation lingered long after the sun had dipped below the horizon. That night, under a tapestry of stars, the brothers made a silent pact. They would not run from the shadows within, but face them head-on. In doing so, they hoped to transmute the darkness into a force that would only strengthen their resolve. For if every scar told a story, Then each one was a chapter in the epic of their lives, a narrative that could ultimately lead them to a more profound understanding of themselves. One evening, as the wind howled outside Master Hachiro's abode and the shadows in the corridors seemed to twist into ghostly forms, the moment of confrontation arrived. Both Deku and Naruto were invited to participate in a sacred ritual known only to a few, a rite designed to summon forth the very essence of one's inner demons. The ritual, known as the reflection of shadows, required each participant to stand before a mirror imbued with ancient magic, one that revealed not their outward appearance but the turmoil within. With trembling resolve, Deku stepped forward first. The mirror's surface shimmered with a dark, viscous quality, as if it were made of liquid night. As he stared into it, he saw not the determined hero he projected to the world, but a collage of images, a young boy cowering in fear, moments of crippling self-doubt, and the faces of those he had lost along the way. The emotions surged within him, a tidal wave of sorrow and anger that threatened to drown him. Tears welled in his eyes as the voice of his past echoed in his mind. "You are never enough." For a long, agonizing moment, Deku felt paralyzed by the weight of his memories. But then, a quiet determination began to kindle inside him, a spark of defiance. He clenched his fists and whispered, "I am more than my failures. I am not defined by the shadows of my past." As he spoke, the images in the mirror began to change. The faces twisted into expressions of quiet hope, and the boy in the mirror slowly straightened his back. The transformation was subtle, yet it marked the beginning of a profound internal healing. Naruto was next. With a deep breath, he approached the mirror and found himself surrounded by the apparitions of loneliness and rejection. In the reflection, he saw a younger version of himself, isolated and desperate for acceptance. The voices that once had tormented him returned, echoing, "You are alone. You will always be alone." But Naruto, fueled by the memory of every time he had overcome insurmountable odds, shouted back, "I am never alone. I have my brother, my friends, and my own unbreakable spirit." As he declared his truth, the mirror flickered, and the desolate image of his past began to fill with light, a light that grew brighter with each word of defiance. The ritual was long and arduous. For what felt like hours, the brothers remained before the enchanted mirror, facing their deepest fears and insecurities. With every confrontation, every tear shed in that sacred space, they chipped away at the darkness that had long dwelled within. When the ritual finally came to a close, the mirror's surface cleared, reflecting back only their determined eyes and the steady beat of their hearts. In that transformative moment, they understood that the shadows within were not enemies to be vanquished, but teachers, messengers that carried the lessons of their past and the promise of a stronger future. In the days that followed the ritual, a sense of liberation settled over Deku and Naruto. The memories that had once held them captive now seemed like old friends, painful, yes, but also invaluable reminders of how far they had come. The brothers began to integrate these lessons into their training, recognizing that every battle against their inner demons made their external strength all the more resilient. During their daily sessions in the training grounds, they found themselves more attuned to their emotions. Deku's analytical mind, always striving for perfection, now accepted that imperfection was part of the human experience. He learned to harness his vulnerabilities, channeling them into a quiet yet formidable determination. Naruto, whose spirit had always burned with fierce passion, discovered that even the smallest moments of introspection could temper his explosive energy, refining it into a force that was as precise as it was powerful. Their newfound understanding was put to the test when rumors of a mysterious adversary began to circulate, a being that thrived on the unacknowledged fears and insecurities of those it encountered. This shadowy figure, known only as the Wraith, was said to appear in moments of weakness, preying on the vulnerabilities of even the strongest warriors. Although many dismissed the stories as mere superstition, both Deku and Naruto felt a chill of recognition. Could it be that this entity was a manifestation of the collective shadows they had struggled against? Determined to confront this new threat, the brothers set out to investigate. In a desolate valley beyond Hanayama, they discovered signs of an otherworldly presence, a trail of darkness that seemed to absorb the very light around it. As they advanced, the air grew cold, and the shadows deepened, coalescing into shapes that moved with malevolent intent. For a brief moment, The brothers hesitated, their inner demons rising to the surface. But remembering the lessons of the ritual, they pressed forward, united by the strength of their bond and the clarity they had achieved in their hearts. In the heart of the valley, they encountered the Wraith, a figure shrouded in darkness, its form shifting and indeterminate. Its eyes glowed with an eerie light as it spoke in a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. "You think you have conquered your inner shadows? I am the embodiment of every fear, every regret that you have ever denied. I am the echo of your deepest insecurities." Deku stepped forward, his voice steady despite the oppressive aura of the entity. "We have faced our darkness, and we know that it does not define us. You are nothing but a reflection of the pain we have overcome," Naruto added with equal resolve. "Our strength comes from accepting our past and using it to light our way forward. You have no power over us." The battle that ensued was not one of physical blows alone, but of wills, a clash of inner light against lingering shadows. The Wraith attacked with tendrils of darkness, trying to ensnare their minds in loops of despair. But Deku and Naruto, drawing upon the clarity forged in the ritual of reflection, countered with a steady stream of combined energy that shone like a beacon in the night. With each strike of their united power, the shadows recoiled, and slowly, the Wraith began to dissipate into nothingness. When the final echoes of the entity faded, the valley was left bathed in a gentle light, as though the very land itself had exhaled a sigh of relief. The brothers, though exhausted, felt an overwhelming sense of triumph, not merely over an external foe, but over the remnants of their inner turmoil that had long held sway. They knew that the battle against darkness was ongoing, that shadows would always linger at the edges of light. Yet, they had learned that by confronting those shadows with truth and unity, they could ensure that the light within would never be extinguished. In the weeks following their encounter with the Wraith, Deku and Naruto settled into a rhythm of quiet reflection and renewed training. Their experiences had deepened their understanding of the human spirit, and they began to see the value in embracing every part of themselves, even the parts that were painful or imperfect. Under the gentle guidance of Master Hachiro, the brothers engaged in discussions that spanned philosophy, ancient lore, and the nature of inner strength. Sitting around a low-burning fire in the courtyard of his home, they listened as the old master recounted legends of heroes who had battled not only mighty foes but also the darkness within. "True power," he said softly, "is born from the willingness to face your own shadows. It is in the acceptance of your vulnerabilities that you find the courage to rise time and time again." Deku, ever the thoughtful one, pondered these words deeply. "I used to think that being a hero meant never showing weakness. But now I see that acknowledging my fears and failures makes me stronger, because it means I have nothing to hide." His voice carried a quiet conviction, a recognition that every scar was a testament to survival, a reminder of the battles fought and the lessons learned. Naruto, whose exuberance had always masked the depths of his inner pain, nodded in agreement. "I've learned that the fire in me isn't just for burning through obstacles, it's also the light that guides me when everything else seems dark. Embracing my past, even the painful parts, gives me the strength to move forward and help others do the same." Together, they resolved to share their newfound wisdom with the people of Hanayama. They organized small gatherings where villagers could speak openly about their fears and hardships, a safe space to confront the shadows that had long haunted them. In these quiet meetings, under starlit skies and amidst gentle laughter, the community began to heal. The lessons of Deku and Naruto's journey rippled outward, touching lives and inspiring others to face their inner demons with courage and compassion. As autumn gave way to winter, the transformation within Deku and Naruto became a cornerstone of their identity, as warriors and as beacons of hope. Their dual power, which had once been a raw, explosive force, now carried an added depth, a tempered light forged in the crucible of introspection. They had learned that every hero must first conquer the darkness within before they can truly illuminate the world around them. One crisp morning, standing at the edge of a frost-kissed field, the brothers gazed at the horizon as the first light of dawn broke through a blanket of clouds. In that moment, the shadows of the past receded, replaced by the promise of a new day, a day in which the strength of the human spirit, tempered by the wisdom of experience, would shine brighter than ever before. Deku's voice, steady and filled with quiet hope, broke the silence. "Today, I no longer fear the shadows within me. They are a part of who I am, and I will use them as fuel to light my way forward." Naruto smiled, his eyes alight with a determination that was both fierce and compassionate. "And I'll carry that light, sharing it with anyone who feels lost in their own darkness. Together, we'll make sure that no one ever has to face those shadows alone." With these words echoing in their hearts, Deku and Naruto took their first steps into the day, a day that promised challenges, but also the certainty that their inner light, born from the reconciliation of every shadow, would guide them through. The journey to confront the shadows within was far from over. In every quiet moment, in every trial yet to come, the lessons of that period of introspection would serve as a beacon. For Deku and Naruto, every day was a reminder that while the past could cast long shadows, it was also the foundation upon which new light could be built. They understood that vulnerability was not a weakness, but a bridge to greater empathy, understanding, and ultimately, unparalleled strength. Their path forward was illuminated not by the absence of darkness but by the courage to stand firm in its midst. And as the seasons turned, the legacy of their inner battles became interwoven with their public victories, a testament to the fact that the truest form of heroism lies in the relentless pursuit of self-acceptance and the willingness to transform even the deepest shadows into sources of radiant power. Standing together at the crossroads of destiny and memory, the brothers made a silent vow to continue their journey, not just as warriors in battle, but as guardians of hope and light for all those who struggled in the darkness. Their story, marked by both pain and triumph, would serve as an enduring reminder that every shadow is cast by light, and that even in the depths of despair, the spark of determination can ignite a flame that burns brighter than any darkness. And so, as the twilight of that long day merged into the soft promise of night, Deku and Naruto embraced the truth that the journey inward was the most vital of all. In confronting the shadows within, they had not only reclaimed their past but had also forged an unbreakable bond, a bond that would guide them through every challenge and inspire every soul they touched along the way. Their tale was a living, breathing reminder that every hero's journey is as much about the battles fought in the heart as it is about the foes vanquished on the battlefield. In the dance between light and shadow, in the interplay of hope and despair, Deku and Naruto discovered that the power to transform the world lies within each of us, and that even in the darkest corners of our souls, there exists a spark of light waiting to be kindled.